What's up, guys? Another Sunday, another installment of the CD collection. There is a lot of traffic today, so I apologize for that. That will probably be an issue, like sound wise, but we're just going to roll on through. We are still in the F section. Just going to jump right in. First up, we have some death metal out of the UK. This is a 2016 EP from Foul Body Autopsy entitled Perpetuated by Greed. A pretty decent slab of death metal here. Gets a little grindy at times. 6 tracks long. Was released on Grind Scene Records and Comatose. I guess like a little split label thing going on there. But a pretty decent little slab of death metal there from Foul Body Autopsy. Next up, we have some brutal death metal. This came out last year. I believe I got this in a as a freebie thrown in with a Gorehouse Productions order. This is Foul Deformity with their EP entitled Colonized. This is only 3 tracks long. I believe this was limited to 100 copies here in the U.S. I believe there was a press elsewhere, I think in Portugal, maybe, that was 200 a 200 press, but this is the U.S. press. Just a little sleeve, just the not even a sleeve, just the liner insert in the actual CD. But it's pretty solid. I mean, it's a pretty solid slab of brutal death metal. Next up, we have some hardcore. This was probably the best album that I received in a Bridge 9 Records grab bag that I did quite some time ago. This was definitely one of the standouts, if not the best release that I got in that. This is Foundation with When the Smoke Clears. This came out back in 2011, I'm wanting to think, and it's just a throwback to 90s hardcore, a very aggressive style of hardcore. There are some metalcore elements going on in this as well, but it is a fantastic release. Definitely, probably, well, definitely, I could probably say without a doubt that it was my favorite release that I got in that Bridge 9 Records grab bag that I did forever ago. Next up, one that's kind of I got this in a mixed CD lot, and I just hang on to it. You would think I would listen to this band more, considering that I do enjoy watching wrestling, especially AEW wrestling, and he's a mainstay on there. But we have Fozzy. If you're not familiar with Fozzy, they are the band fronted by Chris Jericho. There you can see him there. This is their debut album in the slipcase. A lot of cover songs on this. I believe there's only two maybe three original songs on this album. Everything else are just cover songs. I mean, it's not bad. It's better than what you would go into this expecting, but it is the only release that I own from them, and I got it in a mixed lot. It's not something that I just sought out to pick out on its own. I mean, if you follow wrestling or anything, you've heard some of his material just because it's been featured on AEW television, but you kind of know what you're getting there. Very mainstream sound, just not something that I'm going to return to quite that often. Next up, we have Peter Frampton with Frampton Comes Alive. This came out in 1976. Obviously, the CD, although it's old, did not come out in 76. I want to say this is an early 90s or a very late 80s press. It is definitely showing its age. I saw Peter Frampton perform live at a Memphis Beale Street Music Festival back in like 1999 or 2000, so over 20 years ago. And a lot of this stuff is stuff that he played when I saw him live. Pretty good. I mean, I like Peter Frampton. I do enjoy this. I remember when I was very young, hearing this in the car, little tracks off of this, that Peter Frampton tracks in the car on the radio and stuff. So it is something that I wanted to add into the collection. Next up, we have some technical death metal out of France. This is Fractal Universe with Ingram of Decline. I believe this is their debut full length. This came out in 2017 on Colony Records. I have not kept up with this band, admittedly. I believe they've put out something fairly recently. I think they've got 3 albums in total. This is the debut, as I previously said. I think they put out one fairly recently on, I think, Everlasting Spew that was pretty decent, but I just haven't gotten around to picking that one up. Next up, we have a soundtrack. If you hate new metal, you will probably hate this soundtrack. This is the Freddy versus Jason soundtrack from 2003. I got this because I'm just a Type O Negative junkie. It does have the "We Were Electrocute" song with this. Even though I had that on the album, I saw that they were on the soundtrack, so I just went ahead and bought it way back when. It has Power Man 5000, Devil Driver, In Flames, Lamb of God, pretty whatever the main uh, go tos were in that particular time frame, that they're pretty much on the soundtrack. I enjoy it. As I said, if you're not into new metal, you will probably hate the majority of this. You know, so there we go. Next up, this one came in a Season of Mist grab bag, and I actually enjoyed this album much more than I thought I would. This is an Ace Frehley from Kiss solo album entitled Anomaly, and I wasn't expecting much out of this, and I found this. I mean, I like this way more than I thought I would. So I'm very happy with that. That's a good thing about grab bags sometimes, is you get stuff like this that you would never seek out and pick up on your own. As I said, the traffic that was ridiculously loud. Joys of living in the South. You get loud trucks like that all the time. Anyway, that's the joy of the joy. That's one of the positive things of grab bags, is you get stuff like this that you would never seek out on your own. Never even crossed my mind to check this out, and I checked it out because it was in the grab bag, and I did enjoy it. I will say that I hate this packaging. I hate it with a passion. The CD's just kind of sitting in there. It's this fold out, and yeah, I'm not a fan of that at all. But other than the packaging, I did enjoy this release way more than I thought I ever would. Next up, we have some black metal. This was, I guess, it's kind of thrashy, black and thrash. We'll go that way. This is Front Beast with Demon Ways of Sorcery. This came out on Hell's Headbangers Records. I don't see the date. 2013. I had no idea it had been out that long. I bought this on one of those Hell's Headbangers sales that they have, usually coming up around this time of the year. They have some killer sales usually on CDs and records on Black Friday or around that time period. Or they have times occasionally they'll throw one like the so many CDs for $50, so many. And I picked this up on one of those sales, and it's pretty good. Music wise, I really do enjoy Front Beast. Lyrically, it can be a little over, not lyrically, vocally, it can be a little over the top sometimes, but all in all, I find this to be an enjoyable release. This is the only Front Beast material that I own. Maybe at some point, if I see one pop up on one of those sales or something, I'll pick up some more. It's not something I would probably go pay $12, $13 plus shipping for, but if I catch it on a sale or something like that, I will probably pick up some more Front Beast. Probably my favorite, or one of my favorites in this entire in this, I guess, segment of the collection. This is a band out of Hungary. This is Frost. Very original black metal name there, with Extreme Loneliness Fragments. This was released through Paragon Records back in 2002. I'm wanting to say it's been out for quite some time. Amazing release. I was listening to this through my headphones because everyone else is still asleep in the house. It is early Sunday morning, but I was listening to this, and I didn't even want to turn it off to make this video. This is something that I will always find myself returning to. It is melancholic. It's got that melodic, even hints of symphonic black metal going on. Very ahead of its time, and it just, the production on this for the time period that it came out is phenomenal. Uh, if you listen to the first track, you get an idea of what you're going to get into. The keyboards and stuff just on that first track give you a feel of what you're in store for the whole album. Track number 4, Storm Above the Carpathians, is probably my favorite track, just because it seems like every musician and part of this album just gets a chance to shine in its own way in that particular track. But this is an amazing release. Definitely, if you're into black metal, if you're into melodic black metal, if you're into that kind of early 2000s, late 90s kind of symphonic black metal sound, definitely check out Frost with Extreme Loneliness Fragments. I think you guys will dig it if you have not heard that one. A different black metal band under the same name. This is Frost with Talking to God. This album is all right. It kind of suffers I think the album structure on this one hurts it a little bit. It feels like two different bands at times. Like the first half of the album and the second half of the album sound somewhat different. It almost feels like a split album. If they would have structured that and arranged the tracks in a different order, maybe it would not hit the same way that it does. But for some reason, um, it feels separated. It just the first half and then like maybe the last five tracks just feel completely like two different bands to me, and it definitely does a disservice to the album. All in all, it's not a bad release, but it just I don't know. There's something about that that just feels off to me in that particular album. Next up, this this band I found through Transcending Records, 2017, 2018 is when I found them on their first full length, and I enjoyed that. So I backtracked and picked up their EP. Came out several years before, and it has a very different sound from that full length. But the EP is Frost Giant with When Myth and History Merged into Mystery. Later on, Frost Giant has this kind of folky mellow death sound going on. There's like this power metal vibe going on this EP. It has a very different sound than what I expected. It is a pretty decent release in all rights. It just caught me off guard a little bit with how different it was from the full length. There was a quite a decent sized time period between the EP, and they had some other material come out, but that's all that I'd heard from them. So I was taken aback a little bit with that EP. But the full length is the Harlot Star. If you've been following this channel for since the inception, I believe this was on my end of the year list back in 2018 or 2017, or I think it may have been 2018. Now that I'm thinking about it, that this came out, but I do love this one. Very folky, mellow death. Has some hardcore vibes going on at times. Some atmospherics built into it, but a very good release here from Frost Giant. Moving on, let me scoot some stuff. Sorry, the camera's probably shaking, but got to make some room here. We're probably going to hit a patch of black metal. This is probably going to be a little stretch of black metal going on. I say black metal. The first one is unblack metal, some Christian black metal. This is Frost Like Ashes with Tophet or Tophet. This is the debut full length, came out in 2005. I find this one to be pretty good. Anytime you have an unblack or a Christian black metal band, that's going to be one strike going against it from a majority of black metal fans just because of the lyrical themes. I like this. The fact that this band is out of the U.S. is another strike from kind of black metal purists and stuff that they don't tend to like U.S. black metal that much. So I mean, there's two strikes going against this for some, but I did enjoy it. It is the only release from them that I own, but I did find this quite enjoyable, as I just said. But you're going to have the true cultists that hate anything out of the U.S., that hate Christian black metal, and this kind of falls victim to that. And it's unfortunate because it is a pretty good release. Next up, we have some atmospheric black metal out of Germany. This is Frost Seal with their debut full length entitled Precosium. I probably butchered that, but this one's pretty good. It has some points on it that I wish kind of got elaborated on a bit more in the tracks. It kind of suffers from there not being things on this album that are just super memorable after you listen to it. You can listen to it and enjoy it for what it is while it's going, but it's not something that's just going to stick with you after that playtime is over. The EP that came out a little bit after that, I did enjoy. This one came out in 2013. This one is entitled Sat der Stern. Yeah, I like this one quite a bit more than that full length. These are the only two Frost Seal releases that I own. I believe there's some more material in that discography, but this is probably the favorite thing that I've heard from them so far. Next up, we have some more atmospheric black metal. This one almost feels pagany at times. This is Let me try that again. Frostagroth with a defective incarnation. This came out on Ray Soul Productions. I'm wanting to say around 2018. I could be way off on that. They have some other material that has come out, but this for me, this is the best that they've done. This is the one. If you're going to check out anything from Frost to Groth, this would be the album that I would suggest that you listen to. It is the only one that I've sought out to put in my collection, and I don't see myself backtracking and picking up some of the older stuff, but this one here I absolutely love. Next up, more black metal. This is Frost Moon Eclipse with Death Is Coming. This is their sophomore release, I'm wanting to say. It's been out for quite some time now. I have this, and then I have the follow up full length to this on vinyl. And the follow up to this came out in 2003. Okay, I knew it had been out for some time. The follow up to this was not black metal at all. They went like acoustic rock on the follow up full length, and I after that I just never checked out anything else. I don't know if they went back to this sound or what. At some point maybe I need to go revisit, but I was the when you go from such extremes that without any warning, it kind of deters you, especially when you're going in expecting and wanting some more of this, and you get acoustic rock. It kind of throws you for a loop, and for me, I just haven't checked out anything else. Next up, we have some more black metal out of Germany. This is leans into post black at times. This is Frostreich with Geistfahrt. Yeah. This is the debut. This came out in 2013. This one is pretty good. They have a follow up to this. The sophomore I do not own. I do own the third one, which I will show in just a second. Pretty good. I do enjoy it. Has the atmospherics, kind of cold feeling going on, which is elaborated much more in this third full length. This is Frostreich with Join the Wind. If you've been following, I said this before, but if you've been following this channel for quite some time, probably since near the beginning, you may remember this being on one of my early album of the year lists. I really do love this album. I'm thinking it came out in 2017, and it is phenomenal. I will probably throw this on after this I get done recording this video, just because I have not listened to it in a while, and I do love this. More black metal, post black metal, definitely has the melancholy feel going on. The atmospherics are there, and it has that just cold, frozen nature theme going on as well. Starting to lose the voice, so let me take a drink, spill some stuff on the desk, and we'll continue on. Next up, we have some Funeral Doom, so kind of getting away from black metal for just a little bit. This is Frowning with Extinct. This is the sophomore full length from Frowning. They have three full lengths that I'm aware of. This one came out in 2017. And unfortunately, this, to me, as far as their three full lengths go, this is probably the weaker of the three, but it is the only one that I own. I mean, you know, that's the way it's got to go, right? But it is pretty good. I mean, I do like it. I don't find myself returning to it quite that often when I get in a mood for some Funeral Doom. There's some other things on the shelf that I tend to pull off and listen to ahead of this one, but it's not a bad release. I think the debut that was released through Solitude Productions, perhaps, was probably my favorite of their discography. Let's go to Russia now. We have some Russian atmospheric ambient black metal. This is Frozen Ocean with the Dyson Swarm. Now, this one has some droney stuff going on it as well. Not the absolute best Frozen Ocean album or release, but it is decent. It has some good stuff, some good ideas going on this album. It just, for me, I kind of get lost in some of the kind of droniness on this particular release. The other that I own from Frozen Ocean, I do enjoy leaps and bounds ahead of this one. This is the EP entitled The Prowess of Dormition. This is that kind of, this leans into that atmospheric Russian, atmospheric black metal that I absolutely love, that just kind of nature themed Russian atmospheric black. If sometimes to a detriment to myself, I love that stuff more than I probably should, but I do enjoy this EP. It's 4 tracks. and good stuff here. This one was released on Apocalyptic Witchcraft Productions back in 2016. There are a ton of Frozen Ocean releases in their discography, so definitely you're always going to have some that are better than others. But the prowess of Dormition, I think, is one of my favorite releases as a whole from that entire discography. Next up, we have some more atmospheric black metal. This is a band out of Hungary. I featured this on the channel last year in a Seven Deadly Spins video. This is Frozen Wreath with Memento Mori. Great stuff here. 8 tracks of atmospheric black released on Philosophum Records. At times it has some folky stuff going on. I like a little folky feel, paganisk type vibe going, but good stuff. You can hunt that Seven Deadly Spins video down if you want to hear me go on about that with a little bit more. Switching gears completely, we have some stoner rock. This is Fu Manchu with Clone of the Universe. Pretty decent. I got this in a New Damage Records grab bag. Fu Manchu is one of those bands I've heard about for ages, and this was my introduction and chance to actually listen to them. Pretty good. I did enjoy this quite a bit. I may at some point seek out some more of their material to listen to, but it definitely kind of scratches that itch when I want to hear some stoner doom, especially like that, some rocky stoner doom without something that's just super heavy. That definitely fills that void for me. And then last but not least, let's go with something super abrasive. This came out in 1994. It definitely feels old to me. This is Fudge Tunnel with the complicated futility of ignorance. This is something that I feel like people today probably wouldn't get into as much as people did back then. It was kind of groundbreaking feeling back then. The originality feel was definitely with this. This is their third full length. I don't own anything else from Fudge Tunnel, unfortunately. I would love to get my hands on their debut full length at some point. I will seek that one out and grab it. But uh, I think it's like Hate Songs in E minor. I believe that's the name of that one. I do want that in the collection at some point. But I love this third full length as well. Just something that abrasive, oppressive, great stuff here. So great, abrasive stuff. That's all for this section of the CD collection. I'm going to try to keep doing these on Sundays as I was doing before the move. We'll see if I can keep that up. I've been recording and then immediately uploading, though, on these last couple. Hopefully, I can get into a point where I can record them ahead of time and have them uploaded on Sundays. But the goal for now is to keep these coming once a week. That's all I've got this time. Stay classy, stay metal, and I will see you guys next week, hopefully.